Story 1. The Security Camera Alert. I used to work night security at a small logistics warehouse in Riverside. It wasn't anything fancy, just a big, half lit building full of storage units and shipping crates that basically sat dead from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. Most nights were boring. You sit in a tiny security office, scroll your phone, occasionally check cameras, maybe walk to the perimeter once if you're feeling productive. The night started the same as always. Around 2:13 a.m., I was half watching a show on my phone when the motion alert popped up on the monitor. Rear loading bay. Motion detected. I frowned a bit. That area never triggered anything. No employees were supposed to be in the building. I pulled up the camera. At first, I didn't see anything. Then, I noticed someone standing near the far end of the loading bay. Not moving. Just there. I leaned closer to the screen. Hello? I said out loud like an idiot. Even though I knew nobody could hear me through the camera, the figure didn't react. I grabbed my radio and called the night supervisor. No response. Tried again. Nothing. So I grabbed my flashlight and walked out to check it out myself. By the time I reached the loading bay, there was nobody there. Just empty concrete and the hum of fluorescent lights. I checked every corner. Nothing. When I got back to the security room, I figured it was a glitch. Then the second alert popped up. North Hall. Motion detected. Same thing. I pulled it up immediately. This time the figure was closer. Standing at the end of the hallway that led toward the security office, I felt my stomach drop a bit because the hallway is basically a straight line to where I was sitting. I grabbed my flashlight again and went out faster this time. Nothing in the hallway. But as I turned back toward the office, I saw something that made me stop. The door to the security room was slightly open. I never leave it open. I walked slowly back, every step louder than it should have been. Inside, everything looked normal. Monitors glowing, chair where I left it, except now the camera feed on the main screen wasn't showing the hallway anymore. It was showing the security office from inside, like the camera had been moved. And standing behind where I had been sitting seconds earlier was that same figure. It slowly turned its head toward the camera, and then toward the door. At that exact moment, I realized something even worse. The motion alerts weren't delayed, they were ahead of me. Story 2. The Last Customer. I worked night shift at a small gas station in Phoenix. Nothing special, just me, a register, and a lot of empty parking lot time. We closed inside at midnight, but technically stayed open for fuel pay-at-pump customers. That night, around 11:50 p.m., I was already cleaning up when the bell over the door rang. I looked up, expecting maybe a rush order or someone grabbing snacks last minute. A man walked in, middle-aged, hoodie, hands in pockets. But what stood out immediately was how calm he looked. No urgency, no phone, no car outside. He didn't go to the drinks or snacks. He just stood near the entrance and looked around slowly. After a few seconds, he asked, "How many people work here at night?" I told him, "Just me." He nodded like he already knew that. Then he asked, "What time does your manager leave?" I laughed a little because it felt like a weird question. "Already gone," I said. That's when he looked directly at the ceiling cameras. Not the counter, not me, the cameras. Then he said, "So it's just you until morning." Something about the way he said it made my stomach tighten. He didn't buy anything, didn't act like a normal customer, just turned around and walked out. No rush, no sound. I watched him go out the glass doors and disappear into the parking lot. For a few minutes, I just stood there thinking that was weird, but harmless. Then, I checked the cameras. He wasn't gone. He was still outside. walking slowly around the building, like he was circling it. I watched him do a full loop, then another. At one point, he stopped directly in front of the side exit and just stood there looking at the wall, not moving. Then he was gone from the camera feed completely. No car leaving, no footsteps, nothing. That's when I heard the back storage door chime. Someone had opened it, from the employee's side. I backed away from the counter and grabbed the phone to call the police, but before I could dial, the store lights flickered once and the front doorbell rang again, even though they never opened. Story 3. The Empty Floor. I worked janitorial night shifts in an office building in Chicago. It was one of those glass towers where every floor looks exactly the same. My job was simple: clean floors 8 through 12 after everyone left. Most nights, you don't see anyone, ever. That's why it stood out when I heard footsteps above me. I was on floor 10 at the time. Slow footsteps, like someone pacing in an office directly overhead. I remember stopping for a second and looking up. You can't really see through ceilings, obviously, but sound travels weird in empty buildings. At first, I thought maybe security or maintenance was still around, but then I checked the schedule sheet. No one was supposed to be in the building except me. Still, I kept working. A few minutes later, I heard a chair move, then a keyboard clicking sound. I walked toward the nearest office and peeked inside. Empty. Lights off, chairs pushed in, nothing out of place. But the keyboard sound was still there, coming from further down the hall. I followed it. Each office I checked was the same: empty, clean, no one inside, but the sound kept moving ahead of me, like it knew I was following it. By the time I reached the end of the hallway, there was only one office left. Door slightly open, lights on inside. That was new. I slowly pushed the door open. The computer was on, screen glowing. Coffee cup on the desk like someone had just stepped away. But the room was empty. I stood there for a moment, confused. Then checked the visitor log on the wall tablet. Nothing. No one had entered that floor after 6 p.m. I turned back toward the hallway, and that's when I noticed something. The footsteps weren't ahead of me anymore. They were behind me, right outside the office door. Then they stopped. I didn't turn around right away. I just stood there listening, because now I couldn't tell if whoever it was had just walked up or had been standing there the entire time. And then the office light went out. Hello, this is Mr. Horror Story. I hope you enjoy the videos that you have listened to today. Please like, comment, subscribe, and please give any feedback that you feel can help improve the quality of any of these videos. This video will be a part of a new series that will be horror fiction stories. There will be 2 playlists, one that will be true horror stories and one that will be fiction horror stories. I hope you enjoy both of these series, and I can't wait to continue to make these videos and continue to entertain all my spookies out there. Thank you. Mr. Horror Story out.